Welcome to Maranatha Christian Academy for an early season boys basketball battle. As tonight, the Providence Academy Lions come here to take on Maranatha. Hi, I'm Jay Wilcox, along with Greg Miller, the former Armstrong coach, now coaching as an assistant at Hamlin. And a good matchup for these teams early in the season. They're now in the same section, not too far apart. A lot of the guys know each other and everything. I think it could be an interesting battle.
Yeah, it's a good rivalry. It was a close game last year, 8-point game. And both coaches really respect each other. They're both veteran coaches, really know the game well. And it's going to be a little bit of a contrast in styles. One team's going to be real athletic and try to pressure a lot. And the other team is going to try to use their skill and, try to slow the game down a little bit more, I think. So it should be an interesting matchup.
Maranatha coming off a 20-win season a year ago, and they're looking for good things this year. They moved up recently from Class A to AA, and obviously it's you get just a little tougher path as you go. But they're looking at this as a team that has a chance to do some special things.
Yeah, and they beefed up their schedule. They're playing Edina, Minnetonka, Minnehaha Academy, and that's what you need to do if you're going to compete with these teams when you get to section play. So I suppose they'd be considered maybe a sleeper going against Minneapolis North and that kind of program when it gets to the state. But I wouldn't look past them.
And for Providence Academy, winners of 11 games a year ago, they've got a lot of experience. One thing they've got going for them, they got about 8 seniors who will play. And Coach Ariel McDonald, of course, who does some broadcasts with us, said, they've kind of settled in now where they've got guys that they feel like they can win some games with this year.
Yeah, I figured that was kind of the case. They've been building this team for a few years. Playing time, he said, was dispersed kind of equally amongst a lot of players. And now they're kind of shortening up their lineup a little bit. This is kind of their year they've been building for. And so this will be a good test for them to see where they're at.
Let's talk about key players to look at in tonight's game, starting with the visitors from Providence. Mark Richardson is a guy who can fill it up a little bit for them, and they're going to need him to be on tonight, I think.
Yeah, 6'4", a big body. He can score inside, but he can also shoot it. It'll be an interesting matchup. I think he was one of the defensive ends in football, big, strong kid. So, they're going to need him inside because against these good athletes from Maranatha, they're going to need to control the boards.
And there are a couple of good Daniels brothers for Maranatha. We're going to talk about a game, and he's been a stat filler so far this year.
Yeah, I talked to some of their coaches, and they said that he does the dirty work for them. He gets a lot of his buckets just on getting rebounds and putbacks, gets extra possessions for his team by getting loose balls, and he can shoot it a little bit too from mid-range. So he's a guy that's really come on strong as a junior.
Providence really talked about wanting to make sure it's one and done. Boxing out, keeping Maranatha off the offensive glass might be their biggest key for tonight.
Yeah, and easier said than done. Usually the issue with rebounding is when they get penetration. You have to rotate, and all of a sudden you got a smaller player or you're out of position, and that's when rebounding becomes difficult. So it'll be interesting to see if they can control the penetration first.
Should be a good battle here tonight. It's Providence and Maranatha, and it comes your way next here on CCX.
What makes your community feel like home? Is it knowing what's happening in your neighborhood? Or when people know your name? Connections make us a community. For more than 30 years, Northwest Community Television has connected citizens, neighbors, even sports fans through video. As life gets busier than ever, we will still offer you a connected community experience through CCX Media, so you can stay connected to the place you call home.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
What if you could invest in the future? The future of kids, like a stock. Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow.
My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. Gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. Yeah, we're getting so wet. I just...
And welcome back here to Maranatha Christian Academy. As you see the color guard presenting the flag here as we've just had our national anthem and getting set to meet the starting lineups. And prior to that, we are going to hear from the third member of our broadcast crew this evening, Allie Alt.
Hey guys, tonight's matchup is a unique one because these two schools co-op together for football. So 6 players tonight, 3 on each team. Just a month ago, we're playing together. Tonight, they're playing against. I asked Coach McDonald before the game what he said to his players, and he said this. He said, I told my kids, tonight, go out and compete against your friends. If they accept the challenge, they're your friend. If they don't like it, well, then you know what it is. Coach joked that some of the Maranatha players for their football team wouldn't even say hello to him before tonight's game, and he joked, hey, I guess that tonight's just all business. So guys, I guess we're gonna find out if these 6 kids are friends or foes out on the basketball court.
Thanks very much, Allie. And Coach McDonald's son actually playing in the lower level game tonight for Maranatha. So you don't see that every day too. So definitely some intertwined history between these two programs here. And it was a very good football season too. It's Providence along with Heritage, West Lutheran, and Maranatha, all part of a 4-team co-op, and they really had an exceptional season.
We got a nice crowd here tonight, and it's judging from the JV game, it's going to be really loud.
There is a look at Coach McDonald, now in his 4th season, and he's done a lot of broadcasting work with us, and he was one of my favorite Gophers back in the day as well. And he knows this is a challenge. I thought it was interesting. He said he had his team practice in the secondary gym at Providence a few times this week to get used to playing in what feels like some tight confines, because this gym is loud and the fans are right on you. There's a look at Rob Ware, the head coach for Maranatha. He was at Totino Grace prior to this, and we covered him back in his high school days as a Brooklyn Center Centaur, and excited about this year's team and what their possibilities are this year. They've had a 1-1 start to the season so far. There's a look at the crowd that Greg was mentioning. And I would definitely say this qualifies as an intimidating venue for a visiting team to come in, particularly when it's a close by rival and the fans are reared up and ready to go. There's the starting lineup for Coach McDonald and the Lions. Alec, Richardson, Blomberg, Service, and Fofinski. And likewise for Coach Ware, Daniels, Ricks, Wessa, Harut, Lechtenberg, and Lee. And we are underway. Maranatha in black and red, and they have the ball first.
It's like a 3-2 matchup zone for Providence to start the game. Kind of figured he was going to play zone the way Coach McDonald was saying they wanted to protect the paint from penetration.
Certainly a slower paced game would be more in Providence's liking, although they'll run some, but they don't want this game to be a track meet up and down.
And I think that Maranatha is going to try to get a lot of their offense off their defense with pressuring and trapping, ball pressure, trying to get steals and layups.
Lee will let it fly from the top of the key, no good, but there's an offensive rebound as Daniels runs it down.
It can be harder to rebound out of his zone. That's one of the disadvantages of it, but I think that's a price they got to try to, or that they might have to pay here.
There'll be a traveling call there on Lee, so a turnover and it will go to Providence. And here they do come with a little bit of pressure. Coach McDonald was honest and said last year his team and himself included didn't do a great job of recognizing what kind of press they were seeing from Maranatha and cost him a little bit early in the game. Richardson launching, but that one's nowhere near, and then a tie-up.
And Maranatha did come out in a 2-2-1, which last year he said he thought it was a 2-2-1, but it ended up being a man press. But that was definitely 2-2-1. There were some people they weren't guarding, and they were trying to funnel it up the sideline. They'll probably mix up their presses.
Service will inbound here for Providence. Blomberg looking to go on the baseline. He's cut off. Drive by Service. Going to be a blocking foul. Officials looking at each other to make sure they each had the same call as Service. Had a good quick first step, and the help was just a little bit late.
And we have 3 experienced referees here tonight, and they're used to working the 3-man crew, and they want to make sure that the person who's supposed to make the call makes the call.
Foul was on Ben Lechtenberg, and the first free throw good for Service for Providence, and they take a 1-0 lead. Lechtenberg, the guy that coach called kind of the glue for their team, has a little bit of everything. He'll grab the rebound here. Service goes 1 for 2, so it's a 1-0 lead here for Providence. Makai Harut swinging it around to Lee.
Tried to screen the zone there, which is a smart move.
Daniels down to Lee on the baseline.
Well, this is doing exactly what Coach McDonald wants, slowing down the pace and making MCA have to try to figure out what they want to do against this zone. Usually you want to try to go inside then out, not just launch threes. And that's always the trick is how can you get it inside? That's one way with a penetrating dribble.
Over to Daniels, up no good. Follow try wouldn't drop. And then we get a tie-up as Richardson reached in and grabbed it. So it'll be Maranatha ball. Daniels getting to the glass but unable to convert on either chance.
Makai Harut with a nice drive on the baseline with his left hand. They have to continue to try to do that against the zone.
Back out to Lee, spins in and out. Another offensive board, that one won't go. And batted out of bounds by Maranatha. Will be Providence ball, although they gotten away with it a couple times, but that's what Coach McDonald feared, them getting on the offensive glass. Service pass stolen away, and here comes Daniels all the way for the layup.
That's probably going to be one of their best offenses, trying to get steals.
They run it back the other way, no good. Richardson the rebound, and he scores off the Blomberg miss.
I like how Providence didn't get rattled, giving up that cross-court pass, steal and layup. You know, they came right back, missed a shot, but got the rebound and put it in. So you can tell they're a veteran group with some poise.
Harut, a step back three, won't go. Service the rebound here for Providence, and they look to push it a little bit.
Saw some good box out on that last one. You know, even in zone you can box out. It just depends if they penetrate it or not.
Service with Daniels up on him. And we'll get a reach-in foul on Lee. Another look at that steal, and Daniels goes all the way for the layup.
I thought they were called to fall and blasted through the screen, but I wasn't sure. Yeah, Mixon, that's a big rebound there and a nice finish. It's not easy to finish with guys, jumping all around you like that. So it was nice for him to keep his poise and make that.
Providence inbounding here to service. Lee up checking him.
Yeah, Lee's got his arm on him. He's got to be careful. He's going to get a second foul here. But it is good ball pressure, though, and they got a steal out of it.
Yeah, it leads to a steal. Chase Carter has just come in, gets the steal. Now Carter underneath. Too strong with that one. Gets it back again, and he'll go to the line for 2. Clarence Daniels is also checked in along with Chase Carter, who is the freshman, and I believe he's the son of Randy Carter, another former Gopher. Free throw is good for Carter, so ties us up at 3, and he has a chance to put his team in front.
Yeah, I see the resemblance to Randy. Randy was a heck of a player for the Gophers, one of my favorite players to watch. Big-time power forward.
More or less than Arlen McDonald. Oh, we get a travel call there after they rebound the missed free throw. I agree. I really like watching Randy Carter play, too. I'm not going to choose between them, and I won't make you either.
I won't either. I love the Ariel, too. I love guards. So he was one of my favorites. He could penetrate and get in the lane. I think they both played for Clem Haskins, and I think Carter was from Tennessee, if I recall.
Pass too strong there, so they're able to force a turnover. Service going cross court and into the crowd. And it was getting back to what we were talking about with Coach McDonald. He said just the optics are different with this gym, with the bleachers the way they are, and being so tight in here that he felt that it makes passes difficult against pressure just because of how things look.
Yeah, you think you have to throw it farther than you do, or like you can't make the pass. It doesn't seem available, and it is. That time, it just seemed like he overthrew the guy, maybe a little bit hyped up. That they'll relax and hopefully make some better passes.
Christian Davis, number 1. Number 10, Justin Mason in here for Maranatha. Mason slips, and his pass then stolen away by Fopinski.
Good job of Popinski taking away that high post.
And we'll get a travel call on Fopinski after coming up with the steal.
Yeah, aided by him falling down, but at the same time, it was good anticipation. He knew they were going to go to the high post, and he stepped in front. Now, the speed that Maranatha makes you play when you're playing against them is a contributing factor to some of these turnovers. You feel like you have to rush everything because of the quickness that they have. But you really have to do the opposite. You have to stay poised.
Lee from the baseline, no good, but an offensive board by Davis.
Lee must be able to make threes because he's launched 3 of them.
Crossover there, ball knocked free, but now Davis attacking, and Richardson fouls him.
They got a little lucky there. Clarence Daniels tried to dribble through 2 people, and it looked like it was going to be a turnover, but they ended up getting the ball back, and Christian Davis with a nice play.
That's one of those, if you're Richardson, it's a nice contest, but obviously he's a guy that they're going to need on the court a lot too, so you don't want to pick up too many in spots like that.
Yeah, you just got to wall up and hope they miss and get the rebound in that situation. A lot of depth being shown here by MCA.
And I've always liked this when coaches, if you plan to use somebody, get them in there fairly early. Waiting until after halftime and expecting somebody to be in the flow of the game, I've always felt is tough.
Yeah, subbing early and often can be good. It depends. Sometimes if your starters are really the best part of your team.
There's the steal and the jam. Clarence Daniels with the dunk for MCA.
Yeah, Clarence is really long, good anticipator.
And thrown away again. They might run it down. Akeem Daniels. He's going to shoot it up from the corner. That one's in and out.
Good box out.
Blomberg did a nice job of keeping Clarence Daniels off the boards that time. 6-3 Maranatha, and Coach McDonald's going to use a timeout as he could kind of sense his team starting to rush a little bit.
He didn't really want a timeout. I don't know. He must have made some other kind of signal for a play they wanted, and sometimes it gets confused.
So look at Daniels going in for the dunk there for Maranatha.
So there was no charge timeout.
I sure thought he was given a signal for one also, but
that must one finger tap on the shoulder must be a signal. The ref took that to be a 30-second timeout, I think.
Around it comes to Richardson, dumping it inside, knocked away from Blomberg, and here come the Mustangs, and that pass, though, is thrown behind its intended target, and it will be into the Providence bench. Lions basketball here as they trail at 6-3.
A little bit sloppy. You know, the Mustangs have been able to get some steals, but they haven't been able to convert as much as they would like.
Service picks up the dribble. Good play to come meet that one, and it led to the foul as Halleck, he could sense there was somebody coming, and he went out to meet the basketball.
Yeah, I definitely like the style MCA plays. It fits their personnel. They're long and athletic, and you know, they get in the passing lanes and kind of intimidate the people with the ball into making mistakes. It's a man-to-man defense now. Trying to run some pattern, cross screen, down screen action.
Back out to Service. Service drives and dishes. Blomberg an up fake and score it.
Nice
He'll
play
go
by
to the
Service.
line.
I remember doing a game for Maranatha. I think it was last year, and Service is one of their better guards. Or it might have even been 2 years ago.
2 years ago, Providence, yeah that's right. Over there on a Saturday afternoon, if I remember right.
So he was a sophomore then, so he's come a long way. But he's got a lot of experience, and he made a nice poise play there. Nice dish for the bucket and the end one.
Davis picks up the foul. Logan Blomberg to the free throw line here for Providence as he tries to tie it up. Too strong with that one though. Rebound by Clarence Daniels. So it's still a 1-point lead here for Maranatha.
From all the offensive rebounds and steals, it seems like it should be a bigger lead for MCA, but got to give Providence credit for keeping their poise and keeping the game close.
Daniels slipping, and going to the court is Halleck. And the tie-up will go Providence's way.
That's 2 fouls on Clarence Daniels.
Oh, you're right, it was. I thought he had called a tie-up, but instead a foul. So Clarence Daniels picks up his second in pretty quick order. The good news is they do have some depth, certainly, as we are seeing. And Rick Swessa will come back in.
2-2-1 press again, zone press. The worst place to go with that is up the sideline. That's where they really like to trap you. Try to keep it in the middle or go backwards before you go forward.
Boy, Service is going to get a workout tonight. He's really being tasked with handling the ball quite a bit against this pressure, and it's not going to be easy. And that'll be a foul call against Mason, trying to cut him off.
Now this aggressive style, it leads to a lot of fouls, you know, and it's hard not to foul when you're playing this aggressive, especially if the refs are calling them. And you know, that's going to put the Mustangs at the line now for the rest of the half.
And away from the ball, we get a foul on an illegal screen set by Halleck of Providence. So it will be Mustangs basketball here.
Oh, they switched to a man-to-man defense here.
And we're going to get an illegal screen back the other way as Mason will be called. We're trying to set the tone here, I think, calling things fairly tight in the early going. But like you said, veteran officiating crew, they're not swayed by a crowd too much or coaches getting on them or whatever. They know the game well.
I especially know Ricky Spencer, and he's one of the better refs around. Ref many of the games that I coached in. Ref state tournaments, state championship games.
Richardson's pass stolen away. Good hops quickly off his feet there by Hakeem Daniels. And then Harut will be called for a travel. So Maranatha is, I kind of agree with what you said. In some ways, it feels like they should be more farther ahead than they are, but they've been just a little bit start and stop trying to get their offense going.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting turnovers by getting steals, but then they're turning it over themselves with, improper footwork and travels and dribbling into spots they maybe shouldn't be dribbling into.
Service attacking, but can't get it to go. And then he comes away with the rebound in traffic there.
Ooh, nice in and out move.
Ooh, and a left-hand layup. Halleck showing nice skill getting to the rim there.
Yeah, very athletic move and good skill. He's strong. Just look at him, you can tell he's lifted weights.
Back out top. Daniels is grabbed as he goes to the hole, and that will be on Fofinski. So look at that nice finish with the left hand there.
That's a thing of beauty. On the next play, Richardson, he's got to be careful. He was swatting at that ball, and he easily could have picked up his second foul. But they called it on Popinski. My bad. Fofinski. Apologize to everyone involved there.
Max Anderson is checked in now, number 31 for Providence. He was the quarterback on that football team that Allie talked about pregame. Free throw is good. And a turnover there as Richardson trying to go to Anderson.
Yeah, another unforced error there. Coach McDonald just probably wants his guys to settle down, relax a little bit, because they've had a few turnovers where they just kind of got a little bit rattled and just threw it away.
Lee cutting to the middle. Drops it off to Carter, and now Harud attacking, no good, and Richardson boards it for Providence.
That's a nice rebound.
Service, driving, ooh, and that one is denied by Carter. Long arms there, as it looked like a pretty good move initially, but not able to get it past the talented freshman. Underneath, Anderson receiving inside, turns and scores it.
Nice tricky little out of bounds play, flex action after they got the ball in, and kind of fooled MCA a little bit, and they got a nice shot.
Anderson is a lefty too, so that was his natural or strong hand that he went to.
And nice setup by R.L. McDonald right there.
Lee driving it, offensive foul as Anderson takes the charge on Tristan Lee.
Yeah, I thought that was a block.
Yeah, I agree.
Those are tough calls. They're instantaneous calls, and the guy did have his head down, but definitely looked like he was still moving to the side.
You almost wonder if Lee wasn't penalized just because he looks so big and strong that when he knocked somebody down, it's believable.
No, they go flying.
Richardson attacking, and that one a no call. Here come the Mustangs back the other way. Mason crossing over, had his shot blocked, and it's going to be a charge against Mason, as that will be his third.
Max Anderson took both of those, 2 in a row. That one he was set, I think.
Actually, it looks like they've got just a second up on the board. I must have had a previous one that shouldn't have been Mason's that I thought was. Cross now, service.
Good job of breaking the pressure that time, and you can just get set into your half-court offense.
And that'll be a travel call against Richardson, as he had a little bit of a tough catch on that one, and it got his footwork off.
Yeah, when he was pivoting, he lifted both feet, so whichever one was a pivot foot then got lifted up in the air.
Harud into the front court. Lechtenberg a shot fake, and then he'll come out to Carter. He shoots up that three, no good.
Good rebound.
Service in traffic.
Yeah, nice to see your guards rebound like that. Very athletic. Nice pass.
Richardson passed up the shot as they got out on him pretty quick. Benji Bruce in there now too for Maranatha.
Got to be close to
here.
5, but picked it up.
And there's the turnover. Lechtenberg up with the steal, forced by the pressure.
Yeah, the corners are dangerous places to bring the ball against NCA.
Carter for 3 from the left wing.
And nice to see a big fella who can step out and shoot the 3 and also get it done inside.
Service. Kicks it to the corner, and that one off for Anderson, but it comes back to him. Richardson will let it rip. That is way short. Harut boarding to Carter. Here comes Carter. Wow, and he was hit hard by Halleck.
Yeah, nice play in transition. And he had shot one the time before Carter and missed, so he got that first one out of his system and relaxed and had nice form on that shot.
So Chase Carter to the free throw line here for Maranatha. Knocks down the first. Sam Young, number 20, in for the first time for Providence, and also returning is 21, Blomberg. Also in for the Lions, Aaron Davis, number 24.
That last possession, Richardson shot a 3. Kind of thought maybe it was a little bit early, and maybe he hasn't had a lot of touches and felt anxious to shoot one, but it led to a fast break layup.
It almost felt a little bit like he was goaded into it too by the defender. He kind of backed off and kind of let him say, okay, let's see what you got.
Could be. Ooh, he stepped out of bounds and caught.
Service, drives, dishes to Blomberg, layup in and out, and Lechtenberg rebounds it here for MCA. Lechtenberg looking to drive it. He was fouled before the shot out on the floor. And
that'll be the NBA continuation.
Yeah, Anderson will pick it up.
Yeah, Ben Lechtenberg, nice looking athlete, strong, had an explosive first step there. I think he surprised him a little bit and got to the bucket.
Carter to Harut and then back out to Lechtenberg. Coach McDonald barking for an illegal screen there.
Yeah, the handoff thing in college for sure, it's a big point of emphasis. When you hand the ball off, you can't stick your butt into a guy. And in college, that would have been an automatic call. In high school, I don't know how much they're going to call that.
Bruce shooting it up, and he gets the bounce. It's a three-pointer. Wow. That one didn't look like it had much of a chance to bounce in, but it did. 16-9, Maranatha opening up the biggest lead of the game here. Service across to Anderson. You can just feel the pace getting up and up and up. And saved in by Carter. Mustangs have it going their way right now.
The Service did a good job of getting the ball up against that pressure. But like you say, he's going to get really tired if he has to do that the whole time. They're going to have to figure out some other way to get the ball up the court besides him just bringing it up all the time. Back to the 3-2 zone. Slow down the pace a little bit.
Coach Ware directing his guys as he recognized what they were seeing coming up court.
Yeah, I mean, you're only up 7, and you're only down 7, right? So what do you do in this situation? You be happy you're down 7 and let them, because it looks like they're holding the ball. If you're on defense here, or do you go out in the man? That's the cat and mouse game. Usually what happens is the defense will wait about 30 seconds. They can't take it anymore, and then they go out and play man-to-man. We'll see what happens.
Into Lechtenberg, fading, no good. Nice rebound in traffic, and that'll be free throws coming for Davis as they have, 50-50 type balls here. They have gotten most of them, and you see Davis going up in a crowd and getting that one.
Yeah, I mean, you can practice box outs all you want, but if guys have that quick second jump ability and they can just tip the ball up to themselves, pretty hard to get rebounds in that situation. Still got to try to box out with good fundamentals, but being athletic certainly helps.
Well, like you said too, when there's penetration or any other kind of thing, it kind of throws everything off. It's when you have to help and you're no longer really in a spot to get just a good, clean one-on-one block out.
That's right. And the Mustangs in that last possession, they decided not to keep holding the ball. They tried to get them to extend a little bit, and then they attack.
Blomberg to the middle, spinning, no good. And rebound grabbed by Bruce. So Maranatha by 9 and looking to build on it. They definitely have the tempo more in their favor in these last few minutes, although they've been forced to slow it down a little bit as Providence goes back zone.
I like that move by Blomberg. I mean, it's an aggressive move. He's got to have a little bit more poised at the end of the shot, but I like that he's trying to be aggressive. They're going to need him to score some in there.
Harut down the lane with the floater, and it's good. Nice shot.
That's the second floater. It's a nice shot for a smaller guard.
Carter coming out trying for the steal, but ends up out off him.
Yeah, that floater, a lot of coaches don't like it because they think it's an inconsistent shot, but I think if you're a small, quick guy, you get in the paint, but you can't finish over the trees, it's a good shot.
Carter, no good, and then a foul on the rebound is going to go against Maranatha as Harut, it looks like, coming over the back. And so we'll head to the other end here for that'll be the 10th foul, so 2 free throws upcoming here for Providence is Aaron Davis.
Yeah, they've been in bonus since the 11-minute mark, and I don't know if they've shot a bonus free throw yet. This will be the first one, I think. The other fouls, I think, were shooting fouls.
First free throw good by Aaron Davis. See Rix Wessa coming back in for Maranatha.
I mean, Maranatha definitely has a lot more depth than Providence, and you know, in a game that's up tempo, that's definitely going to favor them, and they can afford to commit more fouls because they just bring in other guys that are pretty good.
Yeah, I think that second point is a key one, that you're not nearly as worried about committing fouls if you have good subs behind them. Davis will get a pair to go. It's still 20-11 though. Providence is, after looking decent offensively early, haven't done very much of late.
One thing I like about Maranatha's team is they don't just depend on one guy. They have a whole bunch of players who can make plays, and they do it collectively, which is usually the most fun way to play and the most fun kind of team to coach.
Harut, baseline drive around, and we'll get a travel call going against Davis there.
Yeah, that should have been a one more pass. If he's not going to shoot that one, one more up, he might have got a wide open 3 for his partner.
Young into the front court. Took a moment before somebody to realize who had him. He was looked up and was like, wow, we have some space to work with for a change.
Traveling
on Richardson. Boy, both teams have been guilty of that more than they would like.
Yeah, he traveled. It's easy to see when you're watching, but when you're doing it, and maybe you're just trying to go quicker than you normally do.
And there's a pass taken away by Fofinski. Back out for Young. Now Blomberg looking to attack in the middle. Gets it up and in.
Yeah, he's got a nice frame. He's got length and got some good footwork down there. They're going to have to keep going to him inside.
20-13. Providence back to within 7. About 3.5 minutes to go here in this first half. Back out. Daniels will shoot it. No good, and rebound by Anderson.
I mean, zone is definitely a smart way to play them. They don't seem like they're great outside shooters.
Blomberg finishing through some contact there for his 3rd bucket, and it's 20-15.
Yeah, Fofinski is coming on here. I think they need to keep giving him the rock. Or sorry, Blomberg.
Bruce back around to Harut.
Oh, he traveled.
Bruce will be called for the watch. And subbing back in is Carter now for Maranatha. They've definitely been a little bit unsure attacking when Providence has been in zone.
Yeah, it's not easy to go against zone. I mean, especially if you're not making jumpers. But they're doing the right thing, usually trying to penetrate it and get it inside and then rebound it. That's probably the best way they're going to have to beat it.
Fofinski Has to pick up the dribble way out high and needs help. Richardson comes to get it. Popinski down the lane, and we get a hand check call there going against Maranatha. And that will send Fofinski to the free throw line. It looks like the foul's on Harut. Free throw is good. First point of the night for Fofinski, and the Lions are right back to within 4. There was a time when it was starting to look like maybe it was going to get away from them a little bit, but now they've been able to slow Maranatha and just kind of chip away and get right back in it.
And it's nice to score free throws when you're going against a team like this. Calms everyone down, get their composure back. Just got to make them. Little 3-2 zone. Kind of morphs into a 2-3. They kind of match up with where different people go.
Carter short with that one. Richardson the block out.
Yeah, he's a really good rebounder. I like his technique.
Service into the front court. Trying to kick it back out and does. Now they interchange. Service a shot fake around the defender and he scores.
Coach McDonald's got to like what he's seen and how they responded to being down 7, and they're a little bit rattled. They really calmed down. The zone got him back into it, I think.
Carter across court to Daniels, offensive foul.
The MCA's got to go in under more control. And it's an easy call this time, I thought. He might have been sliding a little bit, but the ball handler was just going straight line and he wasn't going to slow down.
Get a holding call here going against Christian Davis, trying to deny that inbound, and Service will head to the free throw line.
Yeah, they foul a lot this half. I mean, they have 3 offensive fouls and they have probably about 10 fouls when they're playing defense.
Service missing on the first free throw. Try number 2 is also off target. Carter rebounds, so Service just 1 out of 4 at the line. He's played a good floor game, but they'd like to see him knock a couple of those down. So Maranatha still up by 2.
Nice skip pass and pass into the middle.
And banked home there by Rick Wessa. I don't know if he called glass on that one or not, but it'll count 22-18.
That's the place where you want to get it against the zone, but that's not an easy shot to make. As you say, I don't know if he tried to bank it, but it was straight on line.
Under a minute to go here in the first half. Blomberg looking to go against Carter. Back out to Service. And off his foot and out of bounds. And that's not a steal, but the pressure clearly led to it, so that's just about as good.
Yeah, they certainly have created a lot of turnovers. So many that it doesn't seem like the game should be a 4-point game, but they haven't been able to convert on their end, and they've turned it over significantly to MCA.
35 seconds, and it kind of looks like they might hold for one if Providence is going to stay back in that zone.
I think Coach McDonald likes the score of 22-18 here. I think MCA would like to score in the 30s or 40s or 50s for the half. He's trying to switch him on the fly, I think, to a different defense.
Harut with the floater, and it is good. And that might be the final try of the half. Oh, a turnover here by Providence. 0.4 of a second left. And a 6-point lead. The Mustangs will get one more crack at it as they'll inbound on the baseline.
Can't really tell if it's 0.9, they got time to shoot.
Yeah, it might be 0.9, not 0.4.
You can actually catch and shoot then.
They're going to go lob in the middle, batted up there, no good. And the half will come to an end with Maranatha holding a 6-point advantage here at the half as they build a 24 24-18 lead here on their home court. A little sloppiness, but some good battles back and forth here so far. Let's go over now to Allie with Coach Ware.
Coach, a key to this game is setting the pace. You guys want to go fast. Providence wants to slow you down. What's your assessment of your control in the first?
You know what? I thought we had really good control. I feel like that's our strength, is pushing the team. McDonald did a great job as far as trying to slow us up. We got to be patient when they go zone and move the ball and look to attack the gaps.
It's been hard for you guys to establish a rhythm offensively, leaving a lot of second chance points on the floor. How do you guys get more comfortable in the second?
You know what? We got to crash the boards. Like you said, there's a lot of opportunity off missed shots. So we got to get our guys to crash the boards, which we have some pretty athletic guys to do it. Providence doing a great job by trying to change it up on us. So.
Thanks for your time, Coach.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you very much, Allie, and thanks to Coach Ware. We'll hear from Coach McDonald coming back into the second half. We've got a good one so far here. Maranatha with the lead, but it's close. 24-18 Mustangs over Providence here at halftime. We'll be back with first half highlights and more here on CCX.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
I got some Oxy after I hurt my neck. First, I took them to feel better. Then, I just kept taking them. I didn't know they'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
Welcome back here to Maranatha Christian Academy in Brooklyn Park. The Mustangs leading Providence Academy 24-18 as we check out some of the first half highlights here, starting with some of the Lions. Good plays from this first half as you see Halleck driving. That was a nice hoop right there as he got to finish with the left hand. They went inside, and here's Anderson turning and scoring with the left hand off the window as he provided some good bench minutes. Blomberg had a pretty good first half as he had 3 buckets for the Lions. There's a nice steal. Kim Daniels goes all the way and gets the layup there. They definitely forced some turnovers, and then here's another one. And this time the throwdown by Clarence Daniels. And nice pull-up. Chase Carter stepping into a 3. He's a freshman. He's going to be a force for the next few years for this team, no doubt. And there's Harut getting a floater to fall. As you look at the scores from the first half, Blomberg leading the way with 6 for Providence. And on the other side of the coin, Carter with 6 off the bench, and Harut and Kim Daniels with 4 points apiece here for Maranatha. We'll take another time out here and come back with more of our live coverage here of high school boys hoops. We've got a good boys game and a good girls game coming up later in the week as well. Champlain Park Wayzata boys on Thursday and Cooper Wayzata girls on Friday. We'll be right back.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise. And be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I bought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
Welcome back here to Providence to Maranatha as Providence trails Maranatha by a score of 24-18 as the teams complete their warm-ups for half number 2. And let's go over now to Allie with Coach McDonald.
Coach, it took you 14 minutes to get double digits for points. Why the slow start offensively?
Well, credit goes to Maranatha. Their pressure defense was really effective in the first half, really caused trouble for our guards, really caused trouble for us to get into offense. And so we understood that that was going to be something that we had to really address. But, credit goes to Maranatha for making it happen.
Now, might not feel like it, but this is still just a 6-point game. What was the message in the locker room? Because these guys are still in it.
The message was just take care of the ball a little bit, have some poise when you get the ball. Even when someone is pressuring you, you have to allow us to get into offense because we do believe that once we get into a structured offense, we'll get the look that we want.
What have you liked defensively with your team? Because you've been able to hold Maranatha to just 24 points, and yet it feels like they kind of have had a little more control in the game.
I don't know if it's so much our credit. Maranatha has been missing some layups, and what we've been trying to do is just force them into quick shots and box out and try to secure the rebound. But we switched it up, went zoned a little bit, tried to force them to shoot it from the outside. We were successful in that. Probably, just allowing us to be right where we're at this moment.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thanks, Allie.
Thanks, Allie, and Coach McDonald. Some good insights there. And, how much Greg, obviously you were a high school coach for a very long time. How much can you really change, or how much adjustments are typically made in a high school locker room at halftime?
If something's not working, you definitely you hope you have some different adjustments you can make, either personnel-wise or system-wise. But generally, those are just little things. And but I like both coaches have good game plans, and I would stick with them. The one trying to pressure, get steals, and they just haven't converted. And Coach McDonald, they're trying to pack it in the zone, and I wouldn't change what either team is doing other than what Coach McDonald said in their case. Just have a little bit more poise, get into offense, and in the case of MCA, finish your layups. They've missed a lot of them, and don't settle for threes. Just keep working for that 15-foot jumper against the zone, and then crash the boards. Football, we make a lot more adjustments, than you do in a basketball game, I think. You might have a hot shooter, and then you're like, we're taking this guy out, something like that, or a big guy that's really hurting you inside. But both these teams have been kind of even. There's not like a personnel thing that you really have to do.
Daniels will inbound to Harut as we begin half number 2.
Harut's had a nice game so far. He's a quick guard. He can get into the paint, runs the offense well.
Lee into traffic, and he walked.
I guess as a head coach, I'm trained to say travel, so I say it every time I see it. It's instinct. Usually we're yelling it.
Service down to Richardson in the baseline here as he drives it to the hoop. Too strong. Blomberg has the rebound and he is fouled. And it'll be a baseline inbound here for Providence.
That was a new look we saw on defense there. MCA trapped in the half court. They trapped the corner, but Richardson made a nice move and got out of that corner quick. Nice baseline drive. They almost scored. They scored on this last time. This is a little bit different set.
Service going into Blomberg, a little up and under, and then kicks it back out.
And he didn't want to use his left there. He would have had a layup.
Try to get it to Richardson, knocked away, but Blomberg recovers. Reverse layup by Fofinski is good.
Great pass and nice cut by Fofinski.
So a 4-point lead now for Maranatha.
Coach McDonald has some nice inbound sets, and they can really be organized then. They're not getting pressured. That's what he wants to do in the half-court offense.
Lechtenberg driving it at Richardson. Oh, it's going to be an offensive foul called against Lechtenberg. Got the arm extended a little bit, maybe.
And you can tell that a lot of these guys are football players. They're putting their head down and going. But yeah, I think that's what he did when he tried to gather. He pushed off with his right arm. That will be a call every time if you do that.
And that pass batted away from behind as Daniels caught up to the play. Halleck trying to pass it. Oh. They're giving it to Maranatha.
Oh, I didn't see that, but maybe they must have called a double tip. Those hurt when you're the underdog, which I think Providence is a slight underdog.
Yeah,
in
that's
this
fair
game.
to say, I would say for sure. Harut across to Daniels, the lefty jumper, no good. Harut up in traffic, rebounds and scores.
A nice set play. They set a cross screen and then a double stagger screen. Didn't make the shot, but the point guard got the rebound and put it in. Smallest guy in the court.
And there's a takeaway. Daniels scores plus a foul. Couldn't have gone much worse for Providence. Halleck picks up the foul. At that point, he probably should have just let him go.
Yeah, and that little crossover right in front of you, you can't do that. You got to go north and south and use your body to protect. You know, guys got quick hands and long arms. They're waiting for you to cross over right in front of you.
Pretty big sequence there as Maranatha forces a turnover. They get the hoop plus a foul, and not only that, but it's the third foul on Halleck. So that was kind of the perfect storm there for Providence. It didn't go that whole sequence they'd like to forget.
Yeah, Coach McDonald's trying to get his guys settled down again. They've done it a couple times this game where it seemed like, you know, the game was going to get away from them, and they just, to their credit and to his credit, his players keep their poise and they come back. And I suspect they'll do it again here, but you never know when, you know, some of these 8-point leads can all of a sudden become 14-point leads with another little run, and then the floodgates can open. So hopefully Providence, just for the sake of having a good game, can, you know, get back in the game.
Daniels trying to finish a 3-point play here. Free throw is good. He now has 7 for the Mustangs. They lead by 9. And we will get a foul in the backcourt.
Now the fouling, you know, in this game, it might not end up, you know, hurting them as much as it will against if you're playing against Neha Academy and teams like that. You know, they do have to play aggressive, but you got to get your arms out. And you can't be touching people when they're driving. illegal screen on the cross screen.
Looks like it'll be Fofinski picking it up. And Greg, I would actually go so far as to say that a game like this, I mean, tonight they're not liking it, but for Maranatha to have a game that's called pretty tight like this, probably going to be a good thing for them season long, so that they, you realize that you kind of have to tailor your play a little bit to how it's being called on a certain night.
It's true, and you got to watch film, and you'll see what fouls are maybe acceptable ones that just happen because you're playing the way you want to play, or which ones are silly fouls.
Tried to dump it inside to Carter, who just came off the bench, but it was knocked away, and the Mustangs turn it over. They look to trap Fofinski, goes down to the ground, tried to throw it off Mason's leg. And it looks like Mason was out of bounds while he was touching the ball, so it will be Providence basketball.
Yep.
Fofinski inbounding here for the Lions. They trail it by 9, and they were down 6 at halftime. Nice dish inside. Blomberg trying to go up with this one, and is going to be called for a travel.
I like his fakes. Evidently, he slid his feet when he did his fake, but that was a nice move. I thought he drew the foul. I wasn't watching his feet. A zone half-court trap by Providence.
Ooh, Mason looked like he might have walked there.
Now they're settling back in. Maybe the man-to-man, yep.
Carter looking inside.
Daniels trying to post up down there.
Fofinski's on him, and that'll be an offensive foul.
Speaking of watching film, that's their 4th charge, I believe, maybe 5th. And they're going to definitely correct that on film. I mean, you can't go through guys. You got to have some skill and go around them. But credit Providence. I mean, they're really doing a good job of taking the charge every time they get an opportunity.
Near steal there.
Near foul, too.
Richardson driving it.
There's a one more pass.
Fofinski giving it back the other way. Service attacking.
Ooh, beautiful move.
Hangs in the air and scores.
We call that a switch your hips play. Mid-air, you switch the angle of your hips and you land on the jump stop and finish. It's beautiful. Nice athlete.
That'll be a travel call against Clarence Daniels of Maranatha as you look at Service going to the hoop.
And that switching your hips allows you to avoid the charge. Right there, see how he just jumped around him? Nice finish, good concentration.
Good strong jump stop there too, so he could go up with some power.
And it's not easy. You got to be athletic to be able to jump stop and then lift with power, but he's got springy legs.
5-second call there as the root was up on Service, who didn't see the count being laid against him there.
You know, in college basketball now that there's no 5-second count when you're dribbling. So I'm used to seeing that, and I'm like, oh, it's not going to be 5 seconds, but high school it is. College, if you hold the ball and you're not dribbling, then you can get a 5-second call.
Illegal screen called there against, I believe it's Carter of Maranatha.
Yeah, he thought he was just rolling to the bucket, but the days of just being able to roll and screen off the other man are over. They're really calling that close now.
Boy, I remember that being preached to us back in our high school days. You set a down screen, and if the guy tries to run around you, you just spin like you're posting up.
Yeah.
It'll look good.
Yeah, now it's called almost every single time, which I think is good for the game, to be honest.
Richardson, a three. That one is short. Davis the board. Here comes Mason looking to push it up the sideline. Providence does a nice job getting back, though.
The MCA has not been able to bust this game open, mostly because of turnovers. A lot of footwork turnovers in this game, too.
Yeah, and I would say they've been correct calls on pretty much every one. That's something where the guys in practice, you have to be drilling it like it's a real thing and not getting away, because most of the calls have been relatively easy to make.
Yeah, I think the refs are doing a great job. Just, both teams are very excited. It's a travel. The spin move, a lot of refs call it. Some refs don't call it. But I knew when the whistle blew, that's what he was going to call.
Yeah.
College, they never call that. So I think you're right. I mean, you could hear I haven't heard anyone from the crowd yell this, but you hear sometimes people yell, "Let them play." Well, then you have to play the game of basketball correctly.
And that gets back to where here's a baseline jumper by Lechtenberg. That gets back to where I said that I thought it might be good for Maranatha to have a game where they really are calling it tight because, like you said earlier, these are officials who are well thought of and work state tournament games.
Yeah.
So if you are good enough that you get that far, you're going to see, the game called relatively tight.
And the section semis, section finals as well.
Inside hoop there for Clarence Daniels, his second bucket, the Montana State Billings recruit. Richelson lets it rip from the wing, no good. Lechtenberg the rebound. 9-point lead, Maranatha trying to push it to double figures. Daniels will turn, shoot, and hit a three-pointer. Clarence Daniels. The lead is a dozen.
I could see looking at him what Division IIs would be interested in. He's got a long body and a nice form of his jumper there and extremely athletic.
Anderson getting it back out of there. Maranatha kind of smells blood right now here. They've got up 12 and they're really turning the screws up defensively.
Yeah, it stayed at a 7-point lead for quite a while, and now they've increased it to 12.
Popinski with the floater, and it'll count. Davis tried to draw the charge on him.
Yeah, he looked like timber, if he would have actually taken the hit. Oh.
That one through Davis's hands and out of bounds, and then a collision, but just out of bounds, no foul there.
They look kind of dangerous down there. And Christian Davis ran into Max Anderson. Luckily, he didn't hit his head on the ground.
Young coming back in, as you see, for Providence. He will inbound here. His team down 10 and has that feel right now of it could go one way or the other. They could kind of chip away and get back in, or maybe Maranatha might run away from them a bit.
Now I give Providence a lot of credit. They stay calm for the most part. I mean, they get sped up and they make some turnovers, but they seem to always come back and know what their plan is.
There's Richelson driving and scoring. Only his second bucket of the night. They've done a pretty good job on him.
Yeah, I think they would rather have him driving to the bucket like that than shooting threes. Not that he's a bad three-point shooter, but they need to get some stuff attacking the basket. Easy looks.
Daniels shooting it up, too strong. Davis the rebound.
Yeah, offensive rebounding has obviously been a strength for MCA.
And another travel call.
Yeah, switching pivot foot.
Here's Richelson getting that high screen and able to finish it. Tough hoop.
Yeah, very athletic finish, good body control. There were guys there to help, but he just made a better play than the defense did. He's being the point guard right now. Must be a set play that they have for him. Yep, another high ball screen trying to get him to the rack.
And it's going to be an illegal screen, no hoop. Illegal screen call to free up Richelson. Coach McDonald barking at the official.
Probably the same call they call on the other end. Does he roll?
Ooh, well, and I think he's going to tee up Coach McDonald right there. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, that's a tough call. But it is that same kind of thing. You're screening your own guy. I don't know. That was a tough one. I'd be mad too, I think. And then the other thing I said about Richelson shooting threes, that three looked beautiful coming off his hand. The first two didn't look so good, but that one looked really nice, and he made it.
And I think that's another part of the reason why coaches was a little upset. But I have to be honest with you, I don't think the calls have gone against Providence here tonight. For a road team, I think they've gotten more than their share of calls.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I've come into gyms like this before with teams, and you just feel like you're getting fouled all the time, and they're not calling it. No, Providence has got to like the way this game is being called, because I think they're calling proper fouls, but sometimes refs just look the other way and let the aggressive team foul. They're not letting that happen today, so that's actually to Providence's advantage.
Davis, they'll swing it around to Mason.
Tricky set play there. They didn't get anything out of it, but looked good. Providence now has to come out in a man-to-man. They're doing pretty good so far in this possession, moving their feet well.
Davis, travel.
That was good man defense. You know, at this point when you're down 10, you're maybe going to have to go to some man defense. Well, you are going to know that they're going to hold the ball, otherwise no shot clock in high school ball. So bringing him to the point, he seems to be enjoying it. He didn't go under the screen that time because he made that 3 last time. He wants his ball screen again. Refused it.
Drive by Richardson, no, and Lechtenberg up for a nice rebound.
Oh, that was a beast of a rebound there. That was really nice.
Maranatha by 10 as we approach 10 minutes to play.
And Lechtenberg's a good athlete. He can get up in the air and he's strong, good hands.
Yeah, Coach Ware made note of him, said, you know, it's not the kind of guy that you're going to be the first one that everybody notices, but he's kind of our glue guy.
Yeah, then when you watch him jump, then you're like, okay, I didn't know that was going to happen with him. You know, he looks kind of stocky, like almost like a lineman, but he gets up.
Foul on the way to the hoop, so Clarence Daniels will go to the free throw line. Blomberg picks up the foul.
I'm guessing Lechtenberg's a football player. If not, he certainly should be. Looks like maybe a linebacker. He's D-line.
Daniels hitting the free throw. Kind of looks like Maranatha's made a little bit more of an emphasis to let's at least look inside with the ball here in this half. And you know, maybe you don't necessarily have to be the guy that shoots it from inside, but they've kind of started to post up a little bit stronger here.
That one was an attack drive, but he got down to the bucket area. And what I liked is they really reversed the ball and seemed patient on offense against that man.
And it'll stay with Maranatha as, again, Providence struggling to keep him off the offensive glass.
You know, as this game progresses, a Providence lack of depth compared to Maranatha is probably going to come to play. Back to zone.
Daniels to Daniels and around to Harut.
This is where you wish you had a shot clock in Minnesota basketball, but at the same time, it's kind of early to hold the ball, even up 10.
Well, step back is good by Clarence Daniels. He said, well, we're tired of passing it around here. I'm going to make something happen.
Yeah, he's got some talent. There's no doubt about that.
13-point lead here for the Mustangs. Service, fake the pass, and then knocked out of bounds by Daniels. It will stay with Providence.
Ends up shooting this off 1 foot, a little step back. Beautiful touch, good concentration. That's impossible to guard, especially with a guy that long in high school.
Fafinski kicking it over to Blomberg. He's going to step back and shoot a 3. That's not close.
Yeah, the step back 3 for his first 3 of the game.
And then lost out of bounds by the Mustangs. Yeah, that felt like a tired shot to me, the one that Providence took. That it was just kind of, well, we're not probing for anything more here. I'm just going to shoot it.
Yeah, those are the kind of, no offense against the player, but as a coach, it kind of drives you crazy. You got to have the discipline in that situation to run your offense. Now, I haven't seen him play a lot, so maybe he makes that shot a lot, but it doesn't seem like it. He hadn't taken the 3 the whole game. So, but they're high school kids, you know, they're trying stuff, and now he's going to do exactly what you want.
And Lee will be called for the reach-in foul. He had a little trouble with fouls early in the game.
Yeah, he puts his arm bar on the guy. We practice that every day at Hamlin, and when I was at Armstrong, not arm barring. You got to get your arms out when you move your feet. That's, I think, 3 of his falls have been on that.
He has 4 now. Fafinski has a bloody nose, so they're Going to tell him he's got to sit for a moment until they get that stopped.
I mean, Providence is a big possession here. Get a 3 ball and get their crowd going a little bit would be huge.
Richardson's going to shoot it up. That one's way too strong, though. A nice rebound in traffic by Daniels.
No, they got the look they wanted. Pick and pop and got a wide open 3.
Harut, little stop and go. Tried to shovel it over to Daniels. That's looks like it's going to be an offensive foul. Or what do we have?
I think so, yep.
Yeah, it's going to be on Harut. He got a little too close to the attempted recipient of that pass anyway. It was going to be a tough one.
I think that's 7 charges they've drawn. I'm not positive, but.
Yeah, I would say that all of that.
That's a whole season for some teams.
Richardson bringing it up court here. Almost lost it. He got hit. I think he got hit in the face. Now he scoops it up there. That will be an offensive foul on Richardson. Yeah, Richardson got poked in the eye way out near half court. Kind of stunned him for a moment.
See if he's set here. Yes, he kind of turned his body when he got hit, but I think it was the correct call, and he was outside the new arc that we have here for calling charges.
Yeah, what do you think of that? What's the impact going to be on high school ball?
I like it because I really don't like those charges when guys are sitting underneath the bucket. That's what I don't like about it. I mean, I don't think refs are going to call it any differently, like, oh, it's automatically a charge because you're outside of it.
Nice attack by Carter, and he'll head to the free throw line. A lot of times when guys make that spin move, they kind of fade back, but he didn't. He made a kind of a straight line move to the hoop, and I can see why the defender was a little bit fooled.
Yeah, this guy's got a lot of potential. He's going to be a guy you can build a program around as he gets older if he keeps working hard and gets in the weight room. Just keeps developing his body to be lean and mean. He's going to be tough. He's got good skill, good hands.
And he makes a pair of free throws here. Chase Carter has 8 points here tonight. The lead is 15, biggest of the night here for Maranatha. Kick to the corner. Richardson, a shot fake, drives and finishes.
He's definitely a good player. He hit his 3 consistently, which maybe he does in other games. He'd be really, really tough to stop.
And another offensive foul as Carter.
You'd think after so many of them, you wouldn't do it again. But again, that was just to seem like that was a different one than the other ones. I think that was you're just making a strong move to the bucket. You got a guy on you. Maybe flops a little bit because he knows he can't guard you. I don't know. Some of the other ones, though, they were just crashing in with a full head of steam. That was just, I thought that was a good move, actually.
Richardson turns it over. Mason up with the steal. Harut swinging it up quickly here. Maranatha wants to get into their set.
Get into the big fella. Nice pass. Good vision. Maybe should have waited till he drew a double team before he made that pass, but that was, I still like the ability to make that pass.
Knocked away and eventually recovered by Halleck. To service for the layup.
Good teamwork. Hey, they're still hanging around. We got time to make a little run here.
Providence down now by 11. They are not ready to get on the bus just yet. Lead got up to 15, and it was looking like they may be on their way out. Daniels a drive.
Another one.
Charge call here.
Yeah, real physical, nice steal, and then to have the vision to see your teammate and for your teammate to run hard like that down the court, that's what made that play work. Good 2-on-1 break.
Good timing here, too, where Service didn't need to take a dribble. He was just running right into that layup.
Yeah, that was nice. You can tell they play together a lot when plays like that are made. You kind of see him out the corner of your eye, and you know he's going to probably be there.
And again, as we talked about earlier, a lot of these Providence guys have played a fair amount of varsity basketball, so they're not, not in a situation they've never been in before at this level. I mean, obviously you don't want to be down by 12, 15 points late into a ball game, but it happens, and you have to figure out ways to not let it get in your head, and then not just abandon everything you've learned in these kind of tough spots.
And they have a lot of seniors. I mean, almost all seniors, and seniors usually tend not to get rattled, and they also play the complete game. I think seniors have been through so much, and you can tell that they're going to not quit. And even though they've been struggling on offense with only 30 points, 6 minutes left in the game, they've been playing good defense. Took a lot of charges, very well disciplined that way. And so they're still in the game. This is a big possession for them, just like last one. Last one they got a wide open look and they missed. But they're running out of time, so eventually they're going to have to convert.
Providence next game is against another of the teams that was part of that football co-op, as they'll be hosting Heritage on Friday night.
We got a little set play here.
And Lechtenberg with a great block as he denies Halleck.
I'm telling you, that guy, he gets up in the air. It's a good attack too, but just met a guy who's a little bit longer than him and got up and blocked it.
Good no call too there. We had a great look at it
Very
from
clean.
our corner vantage point, and he had all ball.
A lot of holding the ball in this possession there. They go attacking.
Mason down the baseline, no, but he was fouled.
Coach McDonald wanted his team to take another charge in that baseline drive.
Instead, it's Anderson who will pick up the foul.
Yeah, it was David Ross, and he couldn't get outside the arc, so he did the right thing in not trying to draw the charge. I think he realized he wasn't out there.
Mason's free throw is good.
I mean, otherwise, I guarantee that would have been a collision in the past. It would have been a tough call, and it might have been a charge call again. I like the fact you got to make the defense get out and weak side help basically outside the lane.
Service into the middle, back out. Anderson for three. That's way short though, and Harut the rebound.
I mean, they're getting some looks that they need to make to beat a team like Maranatha. If they would have knocked down a few of those open threes they got, this game would be probably 3 to 6 point game.
Richardson's going to be called for the reach-in foul right there. That'll be his third. And Daniels will head to the free throw line. Clarence Daniels, that is. 10 points for him tonight, and that one spins out.
And can we say where he's going to college? Or I don't know if that's legal
I
or
mentioned.
not.
Yeah, I mentioned that before.
Okay, to Billings.
Montana State Billings. Yeah.
Yeah, same place at Bijan Newbern and Melvin Newbern. Minnesota, real good players. Bijan playing here at MCA last year and former Cooper Hawk.
Free throw good again. Or good on one of them, I should say. 44-30. Lead now for Maranatha.
Yeah, the strength of Maranatha is definitely defense.
There's a steal by Mason. He will go all the way. No, but he was fouled.
For Maranatha to make a run in the sections and stuff, it's really early, but they're going to have to improve their half-court offense and be able to get some different isolation, post-ups for different people, and they're going to have to knock down some threes.
Foul went against Young. Mason to the free throw line here, and that one spins out.
So early in the season, too, as a coach, you're just figuring out your personnel if you're Maranatha. They have so many guys, what are the best combinations? And you don't find that out until you play in games, and it evolves, and sometimes you have some younger players that are good too. It seems like Providence is more kind of set on their guys, but you never know. They could have some guys in the JV that play well too, who could step up and help them.
Timeout taken here. The lead is back to 15 now at 45-30 here for Maranatha. they'll be on the road for their next few here as they're at Trinity on Friday and play against Minneapolis South at South on Saturday as part of the South Side Showcase.
Yeah, that should be a good game. Joe Heiser over at South always does a good job. And I know he lost his best player, though, to Cretin-Derham Hall, so that will hurt him, but they usually have some good talent over at South. And they're a big school, 4A school.
Been an interesting game here tonight. A lot of fouls, a lot of turnovers, but at the same time, you've seen some good play. I mean, I think it's a type of game that can help both teams really too. When you're seeing a team a little different from you, a little different style from you.
Yeah, both teams are having to compete hard to be successful. That's what you want as a coach, especially well, any time in the season. That's what makes you better. And both teams are competing really hard, and both teams have done some good things. I mean, a little bit better shooting by Providence, and this will be a little bit closer game. And maybe early not turning the ball over so much. But again, that's what MCA does, man. They're going to turn over a lot of people. But they're going to have a lot of scores where they're scoring in the 80s and 90s too. So credit Providence with really keeping the score down for MCA.
Mason deflecting that pass. It'll be Providence ball. And John Wooden coming in for Providence. Like another coach on the floor there.
I was going to say, don't say it, man. You got to love it.
And they try to go into Anderson, the post. O'Rood out with the steal.
The dunk? No.
Daniels attacking, and he was fouled. And this might be number 5 on Max Anderson.
I think
Looks like they get Halleck instead.
That's going to be 4 on him, I think. Yep. Yeah, I always wonder if a ref knows. If 2 guys are fouling, do they not want to foul the guy out? All my brothers are refs. I should ask him.
Free throw spins out. You'd like to think no, that they're not paying attention to that, but never know. Bounces around and out, so lead stays at 15. Providence, not a lot of margin for error now. They're going to need to start to make some shots if they're going to have any chance. Richardson gets into the lane and scores it. The lead is 13. Back over Clarence Daniels, missing on the floater. Service getting it ahead. Layup. That's going to be a goaltend, yeah. Count the basket there for Halleck.
See a replay of this one.
I think it was on the glass first.
It was, but it was underneath the rim.
It was going to be short, yeah.
He didn't even need to touch it, really.
No, I'm not so sure. That was a tough one. Inside, no good. Blocking foul. As Anderson this time will pick it up. And it will be Daniels headed to the free throw line. It's number 5 on Max Anderson.
And you get like 45 seconds for this. I always just got the guy in. I don't like milking the clock. It's like
Aaron Davis in to replace him for the Lions. Daniels free throw spinning out. They have not been great at the line. Providence actually hasn't been to the line at all in the second half. But that kind of fits the style between the two a little bit too. They're not getting a whole lot of attacking, driving to the hoop type shots. Second one bounces around and in. So 46-34. Dished over to Richardson, hangs in the air but missed it. They'll get another crack though. Service to Richardson, down the baseline he goes, scores, plus a foul.
Oh my goodness. That was an easy charge call, Ricky.
Yeah, they called a block. So Richardson will get the hoop.
I'm surprised about that one, but I can't get fined for saying that, can I? This isn't the NBA, is it?
Richardson's second one goes in.
Ricky Spencer's a good ref. I've already said that. He's ref in the state championship game.
The other thing is you don't have to worry about it now that you're not at Armstrong anymore, right? Not to the same extent.
I do not. Well, although he might ref in the MIAC.
Harut. Dish is stolen away, and Richardson able to scoop it up.
Yeah, Halleck's a really good athlete.
Knocked away by Harut. It'll be Providence ball as they tried to throw it ahead to Aaron Davis. So Providence continuing to hang around here. They're within 9. Timeout taken here by the Lions.
Yeah, Providence certainly showed a good accounting of themselves in this game. You can definitely tell that they're going to win some games this year. Got a veteran bunch, and they play hard and they play smart. Just ran into a team that's loaded with good athletes and good basketball players.
Providence started the season with a close loss at Holy Angels, and then a couple of blowout wins really over Rockford and Shaw before this one.
Yeah, I imagine when they play some of the smaller schools they play that they're going to definitely have a lot of success in some blowouts and stuff like that. And then when they play the teams that are bigger schools and stuff like that, it's going to be good competition, and they'll just keep getting better, and hopefully they'll pull off some wins against those teams too, getting ready for the tournament.
We said both these teams are in Section 5 2A, which has some good teams in it for sure. Minneapolis North, Breck should be good this year. Brooklyn Center, I think, would have been
a favorite.
They won the section last year by beating North, but they obviously lost some players to a new Hoops
Prep
Academy.
School, yeah. But they're still good, and they have like 2 8th graders playing. I guess they're 2 of the best 8th graders in the state, and the coach is a good coach, so they'll be a factor too.
Holy Family, pretty decent team in that section as well. So
wow, that section's loaded for 2A.
Yeah, it really is. Around the horn it comes Richardson attacking, scores plus a foul. Lee will pick up the foul, and Richardson has really come alive looking in this game.
Oh, his feet were inside the arc on that one. Good call. I don't think it was set either, but.
So Lee fouls out. He joins Anderson from the other team and committing his 5th foul there. Kind of surprising in a way that we've gotten this far without any more guys fouling out. It seems like there's a lot of fouls.
Fouls are dispersed. 6-point game.
Richardson knocks down the free throw. Wow, Providence has really done a nice job fighting back in. They were down 15.
Yeah, it seemed like it was over, but not to the Providence kids.
And we'll get a foul with the hand check out high there.
Now it's going to come down to can they make free throws or not, and if they don't, we're probably going to have a nail biter.
Wooden picks up the foul there. Mason is one who has had pretty good success. He's 5 out of 6 at the line.
I mean, Providence has scored, they only had 30 points with 5 minutes to go, I believe, and they've scored 10 points in the last 3 minutes.
Yeah, which in some games wouldn't seem like that much, but in a game like this, it really does. They've closed the gap. No good. We had a lane violation against Maranatha. Wow. So Mason, who'd been making free throws, misses the first, and the second one went in, but it doesn't count.
Yeah, there's the physical and the mental part of the game, and you got to be alert. You got to, do the things that are required, like not stepping in the lane early.
Richardson across. Halleck.
2-3 zone now for Maranatha.
Turnabout is fair play here, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Service, dishing across. Halleck
Nice
kicking
pass.
it to the corner. Richardson had a look, but he passed it up and then turns it over. Mason up with the steal.
Looked like they had good action there, but good steal by Maranatha. They got a lot of steals in this game.
Down to 1:40 to go. Maranatha by 6. And we're going to have a hold away from the ball as they try to deny the pass.
Had a mismatch down there with a smaller guy who's really strong, though.
Halleck will pick up the foul, and that'll be his 5th.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guard, and he's going against a 6'5" guy with long arms down there, so he had to try to lean on him a little bit. But Coach McDonald says you can't get that foul. To get your 5th foul, we need you in the game.
Young will come up off the bench here to replace him for Providence as Daniels heads to the free throw line. Clarence Daniels.
I like Halleck's game. He's strong, he's quick, sees the floor. Against a lot of teams, he'll be the quickest guy on the floor, or one of the quickest. His partner at guard is pretty quick too, Dylan. But in this game, his quickness was, good, but he's going against a whole bunch of quick players.
And Daniels able to make a pair. Big ones there for Maranatha to help try and seal it up. They're up 8, 48-40.
Made a 3-possession game.
Richardson swings it across. Wooden.
Yeah, a little zone here is a smart move by Coach Ware. It's kind of throwing them off their game.
Timeout, Providence Academy. Problem for them here is with the foul outs and whatever else, they're kind of looks like they got a few guys on the floor who aren't too likely to shoot the ball right now either.
Right. Yeah, like we talked about early, Maranatha can afford to get some guys in foul trouble, but Providence couldn't. So, here at the end of the game, it's definitely made a big impact. Still got time. I mean, they got to get a bucket in this possession. That's why Coach McDonald called a timeout.
Sometimes it feels like, and I kind of almost had that feeling when they were down by 15. To a certain degree, it's like the pressure comes off and you start to relax and play a little better offensively at times. And I think that happened with them. Like Richardson just started not being cautious, just started attacking a little more.
Yeah, it's amazing how at the end of games, like points just get lit up. It's kind of like football when the offense decides to start passing all the time. You're like, why didn't they do that the whole game? It's not like that, because during the game, it's if you start doing that and you're missing and the game is close, then all of a sudden the game gets away from you, and then next thing you know, you're down by 15 or 20 by maybe taking some shots you normally wouldn't take. But at the end, you got nothing to lose, and sometimes you start making those.
See what they have out of the timeout. Maranatha looks like they'll still be in the 2-3 zone.
Wonder if they'll trap out of this. They don't want to foul though, so probably not.
Young's going to shoot that 3. It's an air ball. And the Mustangs control the rebound, so they'll have it with an 8-point lead and down approaching a minute to go now.
It's tough coming in and you haven't been playing that much and to fire up a 3. But at the same time, I admire him for having the courage to take it, because they needed someone to take it and he was open. So, it stinks when you shoot an air ball and stuff, but you know what? I give the kid credit for attempting the shot.
Foul went against Wooden. It'll be Harut to shoot here. And that one spins out, no good. And Jack Jacobson reporting in now for Providence.
I'm sure Sam Young is probably a really good shooter too. That's probably why he was brought in. Probably a good 3-point shooter.
Harut misses a pair, but they get the offensive board. Daniels does, and then he's tied up.
Well, they're still hanging on by their toenails here. They still got a shot. If that ball would have went the other way on that hell ball, it might have been a different story, but they got one last gasp here.
Richardson flashing into the middle. Looks
nice
to
move.
attack. Fouled by Carter.
That was big. Make these free throws, make it a 2-possession game, and anything can happen. You've seen your share of crazy games. I know I've been at some of those playoff games at Champlain, Osseo, and different game, Park Center, Osseo, Maple Grove, all those games where it seemed like a game was won and all of a sudden all kinds of crazy stuff happens at the end. What's your most memorable one of those?
Boy, that's putting me on the spot here.
I know. See, that's what you do to me. I'm doing that to you.
I have to give that one a little thought. It was an Armstrong win over Henry.
Yeah, that's
back.
That's a good one.
Ways that I remember.
Yeah, 2-point win in 2004.
Get a foul on the way up court. It's a 6-point game. And Maranatha now again are going to have to come through at the line.
Yeah, smart to foul right away. Hardly any time went off the clock. Yeah, we actually lost a game like this at Hamlin earlier this year, about the same kind of situation. Playing Northwestern of Roseville, and they came down and buried 3 threes at the end of the game. Went to overtime and we lost.
Timeout taken here after the first free throw is good.
I like that timeout because you want to have a plan set up here so that make or miss, they know what they're going to do. They're going to have to come down and get a quick shot. We would try to do some kind of pin down screen, get a shooter coming to the corner or to the wing. He has some success with that play through the years. He might just say, just get to the bucket full speed too, get it out, and then they're not going to foul you. And then play the foul game. I'm thinking I'd like a 3 in this situation, some kind of 3.
Problem is they haven't exactly been knocking him down for 3. They do not have a 3 made the entire night.
Yeah, I think maybe I'd pick and pop with, even though he's only made 1, Richardson. I think I let him set a high ball screen and then pop, and he'd probably be open. Even against the zone, you can do that. That's the other thing in Maranatha. Are they going to pressure full court? Are they going to get back into zone? I'm guessing it looks like, yeah, the 2 guards are getting back for a 2-3 zone right now. Defensively, a lot of times here, I'd like to slow them down a little bit with some kind of zone press that's really soft that makes them pass it around a little bit.
Daniels makes another. Jacobson coming back in for Providence.
So they are in the 2-3, but they brought their point guard up the route to slow them down a little bit. Pick and pop. Oh, Coach McDonald and I were thinking the same way, but
Young the miss, Wood in the rebound, service. He'll shoot that 3. Short, and they'll get it back. Wooden's pass was tipped. Service grabs it. Young shooting it up. That's no good. And Lechtenberg out of there with it to Mason. And Jacobson looked like he wasn't sure if he wanted to take that foul or not.
I'll probably say it's over now, but hey, that Providence team is gritty. They just stayed in it to the end. Definitely there were a couple points in this game where it looked like they could have got away from them. But you can tell they're a senior-dominated team with a good coach, and they stayed calm, and they definitely made it a good game. On the other hand, Maranatha, I really like their squad. I think they're going to be a team to be reckoned with. They just got to get more cohesive, a little bit better teamwork. Not that they have bad teamwork, but just really playing in rhythm together and stuff with the pieces they got. They can definitely be a dangerous team come playoff time. They're going to win a lot of games this year, there's no doubt. Have to get a shout out to Coach Tate, probably one of the best assistant coaches in the state. He coaches for Maranatha. He used to be my assistant at Armstrong. And he's definitely going to help Coach Ware.
He's the athletic director here as well at Maranatha. There you see Larry with the gray Maranatha warm-up. Next to him, Ridge Tussler, the former Osseo great football and basketball player.
Yeah, that's a great get for Maranatha right there. That guy's a smart basketball player, and he played under one of the best coaches in college basketball, and Coach Doug Novak, and he'll bring some of that to the squad. And then Coach Wachholz played in the Armstrong program for a long time too, the varsity assistant for Providence. So got some Armstrong connections here that I'm proud of.
Oh, and the dunk is missed to end the game, and then we get an intentional foul call. And then the players kind of mixing a little bit.
I don't know, with 0.6 seconds, do we need an intentional foul call? Maybe let the game in there and shake hands and go home.
As you see, going up for the jam was Daniels, missed it. Oh, and then Richardson with the shove.
Yeah, I guess I didn't see it. So he had to make that call, my bad. I apologize, ref.
Mason makes the free throw.
Yeah. Frustration foul, you should not be doing that. It was the right call. You know, you get a little kind of mad because the guy tries to dunk on you with 1 second left. And no excuse, you still shouldn't. Well, I guess he was just trying to push him to get the rebound, it looked like there on that one. So
yeah, but still was
it's intentional foul for sure. For sure.
Daniels the miss.
Now, this is a good ball game. Early season game. Two good teams competing hard. Gotta love it.
Second one, good. And then it'll be Maranatha basketball here. They're up by 10, under a second to play here as we try to bring this one to a close. It hasn't been exactly a speedy paced game. They'll throw it into Mason, and the game is over. And Maranatha will up their record to 2-1 with a 10-point victory here tonight. And this was a good, we talked about throughout the game, Greg, a good teaching game for both of these teams in a lot of ways. I mean, we faced a lot of different situations tonight, whether it be, taking charges or not committing charges and taking care of the basketball, and just, the type of game that you learn from that you can't always simulate some of these situations in practice.
No, not at all, and especially the quickness you can't simulate. And then different defenses, zone, which I'm sure that Maranatha is going to see zone all year. And so that's one thing that they're going to get on film. They're going to have to improve on that. And then the pressure, you're probably not going to see pressure like that until playoffs again, unless I didn't really see the schedule of Providence. But good to see here both teams getting together at half court, being good sports, both Christian schools, so they're going to do some prayer, so that's nice. But yeah, I think that you got to see zones, you got to see presses, you got to see man-to-man defense, different offensive looks, so it was definitely a good learning experience for both, which is what you want.
Yeah, and we talked about it too, that it isn't just that you want to play other good teams, it's that you want to play other teams with styles that you might face in one of your section opponents or one of your big conference games or whatever along the way too.
That's true. And sometimes you play a team that you'll never see a team like that again, and you're just like, well, for one game we got to be ready for the 1-3-1, and that's it, and those are kind of tough games, but what they saw today, there's definitely things that they're going to see, and they're in the same section. They could even play each other, so it was good.
And let's go now courtside to Allie.
Yeah, guys, I got a couple of seniors here. We're going to start with Clarence Daniels. Clarence, tonight's game looked like an early season game. A lot of turnovers, kind of low scoring, trying to find a rhythm. How did you guys end up getting this W?
We stick to the game plan. We was a little nervous at the beginning, but when halftime came, we listened to the coach, listened to the game plan, and then we were ready from there.
How did you guys have to battle against the fact that it was hard to find that rhythm offensively for a while?
It's just all mental. We all have the physical talent, and we have the team for it, all the ability. We just had to get our mental right.
Clarence, we know these two teams co-op for football. What was it like playing against some of your football teammates?
Bragging rights for the end, but at the end of the day, it's all love.
It's all love. Congrats on the win. We'll turn it over here to Justin. Justin, a key to this game was pace. You guys like to get the ball down the court fast, have that fast pace. Providence tried to slow you down, but how come you guys came out victorious being the one to control the game?
Yeah, I think like Clarence said, it's all mental. We got to knock down free throws, and when we push the ball down the floor, they don't have time to set up in that zone, and that's what allowed us to get points on the board.
Your defense also played a strong game. You guys were able to force a lot of turnovers. Talk about your defensive performance.
Defense, it just starts with practice. We work on defense for, I say, almost 30 minutes in practice. It's all mental. We stay conditioned in practice so that in the game, we got subs, everybody's fresh.
There was a lot to learn about this game. You guys had some big leads, then it would kind of fall back. What does this win say about your team that you want to know moving forward?
we can hang in tight games. You know, in the beginning of the season, you know, I feel like a few guys had the mentality that we were just going to blow through teams, but now we know every game's going to be a dogfight, and now we know we can win them.
Congrats on getting your second win of the season.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Allie. Congratulations to the Mustangs as they pick up the victory here tonight, 53-43. Greg, thanks so much for joining us tonight, and we'll see you again soon, and best of luck with the Hamlin Pipers this season.
Thank you. Go Pipers.
Your new gig.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I always enjoy it.
So we hope you've enjoyed tonight's telecast. For Greg and Allie and all of our crew, I'm Jay Wilcox. Here's your final. Maranatha 53 and Providence 43.